Hello, we are live. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're watching this in the UK, if you're watching it in other parts of the world, it will be a different time. And I hope you're having a lovely time wherever you are. It's myself, Graham Coath, and today I'm going to be talking to Marie about automation in business and particularly within the finance sector, and asking some questions really about what are CEOs doing to help their finances or their financial teams actually get the best out of them in terms of time and efficiency. Because I've certainly, for one, seen many CFO and their team still doing an awful lot of grunt work. And I'd love to hear from Marie perhaps some of the experience she's had as she's spoken to businesses about just how much can be cut out so that actually you can get these people that are highly qualified and quite expensive to hire in the first place doing a much better job for you. So Marie, thanks for coming along this afternoon to talk about this whole subject. For people that have never met you before, do you want to just say who you are?
Hi, so I'm Marie, and I've been in finance most of my working life. Started in the accounts department, then I was financial controller for a software company. Went on to set up my own practice, and the last 2 years I've been on the AI journey, helping companies to actually sort out the processes basically and not let them go crazy in the finance departments of companies.
Let's just sort of deal with the elephant in the room, which is the whole area of AI in the first place. I think whenever anyone hears that word now, especially with the kind of elevation it's had in the press and social media of late with things like ChatGPT, etc., there's always an amount of people that go, it's going to take our jobs. The robots are coming, no one's going to have a job anymore. But in reality, the majority of AI that's out there and that is being used isn't taking people's jobs, is it? What it is doing is making people more efficient.
Yeah, definitely. That's the great thing about it, because we have got a lot, we've got a very skilled workforce, but we don't actually use those skills enough especially within finance. I worked in finance myself for a long time, and you didn't always either get the time to do what you wanted to do, but especially, the training that we have, the qualifications, and it's very rare you get to actually use that. And I think that's the real pity, and that's what's great about AI, because we can get people, working more strategically. You've got to think of it as just an aid to your job, the same way that the calculator was, or the computer, or the Excel spreadsheet. It's just another advancement in finance.
And let's talk about where this all starts, because going back years, I remember my dad doing every bit of the accounts for a business on double entry bookkeeping paper, ordering those cathedral analysis books or paper, etc., and writing it all out. But that rarely happens these days. How much of this AI process that we're talking about is literally trying to get away still from paper-based systems, or is more of it about locking in together different digital systems that people have slowly but surely kind of gravitated towards? And in a way, is it a bit like we've created a kind of spaghetti junction out there of systems all over the place, but actually they're not talking to each other?
Yeah, that's obviously different businesses at different stages. But what's great about AI, and now we've got, the intelligent automation platforms. So say, because what we do, we say, oh, we need this doing, we want to make this more efficient, we'll get another piece of software. So we've got all these different, sometimes we can have different systems within. AI the intelligent automation platform brings all that together. Conversations I've had with people, some of them, I say you need to get digitally ready first because you're not even there. So there's the people who need to, you know, should have been there for whatever reason they're not. So they've got to get there. And then there's the ones who can then, instead of looking at all this different new software, look at AI, look at the intelligent automation platform and get the, like you, as you say, Graham, the grunt work done, which is what's possible.
Where's the starting point for a business? I mean, does a business need to decide on its main accounting platform first? Do they need to decide that they've got to be going down the Xero or the sort of Sage route or whatever first, or actually, is it okay for a business to go, this is where we're at the moment? Can you come in and talk about automation now, regardless of where we might go with all of these systems?
Yeah, you can, because if you take a new business, for instance, then you know they're going to just be straight on it. They're going to be able to say, well, we're not just going to look at software in isolation. We're going to look at the intelligent automation platforms, and we're going to build that into our business. So I think anybody who isn't digital is really no different than a new business when it comes to AI and automation.
Just go into a little bit more detail about these automation platforms that you're talking about. What kind of things can we automate now? What kind of processes can we automate? What does that feel or look like for a business?
Yeah, so say using your existing systems and combining them with, now we've all used Alexa and Siri. That's conversational AI. Then we've got RPA, which is robotic process automation. So we can use that within the business. Anything that you could train me to do in your business, you can train a bot to do that. So it's anything mundane and repetitive, we can train the bot to do. But then we've got like generative AI now, which is the learning. So it's not like we train that bot and then it just goes, I call them the dumb bots. So the dumb bots are what we add. And now with this natural language processing, the same way with Alexa, it's continually learning. So it's advancing as the more we use it, the more it advances.
This obviously doesn't just affect the finance team in the business.
Oh no way! No,
it goes all the way through the business.
All the way through. Yeah.
So where is the starting point? Is it always at the finance team? Because is that the best place to start?
I would just say, what's your biggest, tech problem? What's the thing that you spend a lot of time on? That is just because if you imagine when you're working in finance, we'll use finance as an example. You might be just going into Xero and going, okay, because it's already matched it. And then you go in and, so the bot can do that. The bot can go in, it logs in for you. It works 24/7, it never has a holiday. And it's in real time as well. I think that's the biggest difference that we see. You're working in real time.
So really, it depends on the weight of the processes that are going on within that business. So, I mean, if a business is very customer facing, for example, online, and there's a lot of transaction going on there with clients, and maybe say for example, it's very kind of customer service heavy, and customers are always making complaints online or asking questions online, etc. Then, automating around sort of FAQs and knowledge bases and sort of ticket systems first might be really useful for that business in terms of then saving the time and effort there.
Yeah. For example, like we one of the companies I partner with, they've been working with councils So councils were given, the governments give them like funding and incentive towards digitalisation. So that's one of the areas that they've concentrated on, you know, like when's my bin being emptied? My bin's not been emptied. So all these mundane, repetitive, you can take away about 75% of that.
That's a
And
lot.
then it is a lot. And then the 25%, when we're on the end of that phone and trying to get through, we're going to get through because that person's only got the 25% to deal with. So it just, from a customer service point of view, you know, it's brilliant. Also, you know, people are, it can actually, because you've got the you know, AI on websites, you can actually, you might not want to work with that person. You might be the accountant. I don't really want that plumber who's got his bag of receipts. So you can filter out, you know, you can ask the right questions, get the bot to ask the right questions, put your ideal client on there, and, you know, it will get the client, onboard the client, you know, straight the way through. So
yeah, I saw that in a previous business actually, that we had that kind of scenario, and as you say, you know, there was a lot of questions that could be answered by a bot very quickly because there were kind of black and white solutions to all of those. But then there became this kind of grey area where someone had to get involved in it. But excuse me, but over a period of time, even some of that AI could learn from the answers that were being given there, and then that pool got reduced as well.
Reduce it, yeah. So yeah, you're reducing whatever the time consuming part of the business is. You could, you know, if you can go in and just say, well, you know, what is the biggest pain? Let's look at that. And that would, a lot of the time, it, you know, it could be customer support, employee support's a big one. For companies. That is.
And when you talk about employee support, what do you mean there?
So similar things. So if you're in HR, you're going to be asked that same question: how many holidays do I have? You know, do I get, you know, sick? Whatever it is, there's a bank of questions that you're going to be asked. So it's giving employees actually access to their own record, so the bot can go in and it can answer that question for you. It's good for training, identifying training needs within companies, because if you've got like mistakes, the bot will pick up on the mistakes that are being made by the employee, and then you can address that with training. So it's a wide range of things that you can do with customers and employees.
I think it's a really useful process for any business to go through anyway, is the flow process that's required in order to do the automation, for them to go through that process. Because how many businesses go, well, oh, so when that gets asked by an employee, for example, talk about employee support, who answers that? You know, is it HR that need to answer that? Or, you know, if they go to HR, does HR then have to escalate that to management? And which management do they escalate to? And how does it come back around through the circle?
Yeah. It does identify. I mean, one of the processes that I was involved in was the credit control side of a business, so the debt collection. And what it would do, I mean, it was something that if you're in a small organisation, you can see where the problem arises. Why did that invoice not get paid? Because a lot of the time it's internal. It's an internal problem. It's not the fact that people don't want to pay you. So it will, by using an automated debt collection, it'll smooth out the process for you. So it'll identify, well, this is why, you know, this keeps coming up. So let's sort that within the company. So it's really useful for that as well, to stop the hiccups that stop things happening.
Well, the other thing about things like debt collection, for example, and you're talking about sort of areas of cash flow within the business, etc., as well, is that, again, once you have that into an automated process, you can make, and I guess this is the case for a lot of these things, you can start to make things much more proactive than reactive as well.
Yeah.
So in other words, you can start to go, you're going to owe me money next week. So can I just remind you of that now, so that actually when we actually get to next week, you may have already paid it, but actually you're not going to feel that I'm having a nasty conversation with you.
Yeah, a lot of, I mean, proactive credit control is that, and it should be done before the event, not after. Just a reminder, you know, and can you tell me what date it will be paid? So you can get the bot to do that. The thing is as well, it's omni-channel as well, so you can on whichever channel you want, because as we know with email, we get so many. It's no longer an effective way of collecting debts, but you can use WhatsApp. They can actually pay get it paid straight away there and then. The facility to do that, so it just opens up a lot more with with omnichannel.
And I think that's really, really important, because I've literally just swapped to a different provider for booking my meetings, which doesn't just work with email, because God, it just gets stuck in a load of emails there. But it works with WhatsApp, and it actually then pings you to say, oh, in 10 minutes this is happening. It pings the other person as well, and then it just opens up in WhatsApp, and there's the meeting. And it's just so there that you don't have to remember anymore. You don't have to be clicking through and remembering. I think that's kind of important, because we're all so busy. I think it's, we kind of need the computer to be our friend and actually go, you've got this, and it's happening in 5 minutes. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, definitely.
So in terms of kind of trends with AI, are you still seeing that companies are a little bit slow in terms of taking up
I do
what
think
they can do with AI?
I think there's still a bit of fear around it, but I do think since because I've been on this journey for the last 2 years and talking about it, and people just thought, God, what is she going on about? But now people are more open to it. Even just in the last 6 months with ChatGPT, it's really opened it up. Even though we've all been using it and it's around us, I think with everything, it's the wording into it. It's like how we describe it, and I would just see it if I was a CEO in a company now, and I was like, just starting this journey, I would just think, this job, what job could I get rid of here? What task within this department could I get rid of? Could we automate? And like I say, it's not been available before, but now with it's so much more available. And I think the real big thing as well, it's not expensive. It's affordable even for the smallest business. I mean, an example of that would be like bookkeepers that I've worked with, and they said, oh, it's not for me, I'm too small. And I said, it is for you. £150 a month will give you 6,000, we'll get you 6,000 transactions done for £150 a month. So why wouldn't you? And then if you don't, and these, the bookkeepers that are doing it, they're going to be able to scale, they're going to be able to be a lot more competitive. So I don't think you can, as a bookkeeper, I don't think you cannot not do it.
Yeah, I mean, how many businesses reach that plateau again and again and again of, I need another member of staff. I need another member of staff. And I guess this is kind of where people have got that fear from as well, that AI is taking over jobs, because if you can use it to scale and not necessarily have another member of staff, but then isn't it about actually then getting staff in different areas? And I think we're kind of seeing that on a kind of global scale with some of the big tech companies as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the sensationalized news stories are always like, well, Google's let go X amount of people, Amazon have let go X amount of people. What you don't ever see is where they go, well, all of those jobs have gone, but actually all of these jobs have come in, because actually it's more of a shift rather than.
It is. And I think it's great because, we can upskill. Nobody wants to do that boring, repetitive work. It's just soul destroying for a lot of people. And within finance now, we've got a big, a big shortage of staff. But we have got, I see it so much in companies that we've got people who are overqualified and doing work that they should not be. They should never be doing. So, if you can, it's just like having your own virtual assistant, and you come in the morning, you say, well, you don't have, once you've trained it, it's getting on with it. So when you come in, it's probably just waiting for something else to do. It's just working away in the background all the time. So
I think any of us out there that are doing stuff on the computer all day long can probably think of certain jobs that we are doing where using maybe multiple systems where we have created a labor intensive process where information comes in from one channel, it's sitting in a system, we need it to get into another, and we end up having to duplicate that information. We have to write that information or whatever again. Where I remember first time, for example, I played with Slack and then realized that it had all of these APIs and you could actually integrate it with, if you wanted to, you could integrate it with things like Trello and whatever. And here's, you could say, if it came into a particular channel, it's now a task and it's in a Trello board.
Yeah.
You don't actually have to sit there and do that.
No. And it's, as soon as something comes in, it's activated, the bot will just go straight away, click, all the way through. So, it's just, but I think there is that, like I said, that the fear of jobs, but I was reading an article and with MTD, we need 2,000 more bookkeepers because there's not enough. That was figures from the, can't remember the bookkeeping body, that they were saying we're going to need another 2,000. So there isn't that around, but the girls and the boys that are already in it get the bot and take on those, the work that of the MTD is going to create.
Where is the starting point then? If somebody's listening to this now and they're like, okay, we feel that there are parts of our business that aren't right, but what would that look like in terms of you coming into the business and actually starting to work with someone?
I would, the companies that I've worked with so far, I would just go in and what I would say is take the helicopter view of the business. It's really important that you engage. Like when I've gone into companies, because there will be that fear, oh, she's here, you start talking AI, my job's going to go. You've got to really kind of engage the team in the benefits of AI. So yeah, I'd look at the overall business, and then it's like, where is your biggest problem really? What would you like me to solve? If they had a magic wand, what would you like solving? And that's where we would look at it. And it's always, they don't have to be the fear, because it'd just be, you'd never go in and say, right, I'm going to automate this. You would always you'd use what they call the agile method of working. And you would just go in and say, right, let's start with this. Let's get some confidence. Let's get the staff on board with it. Let's see, let us all see the benefit. And then let's see what else is available. And you just work your way through your list of what you would like to automate.
In a way, as a company automates or brings automation in, is that should there in a way be a secondary conversation going on in that business about growth and about objectives and where that company is going, so that actually it can see the bigger picture emerging ahead of it, so that it actually understands exactly what it's trying to achieve with all of this?
Yeah, because, like we've all got, we've got a lot of data. Now, what I like, what's another great thing about AI as well, we're not going to, as humans, it can recognize patterns that we would not see, so it can predict. It's like multi-layered. We've now got, instead of having just that spreadsheet and that piece of paper, you've got a multi-layer of information that we've never had before. With even with the best will in the world, it does show up a lot more than we could ever show. And then obviously we can act on that. It'll show trends. So then you can actively target as well. So if you're seeing, I know we do this in a way in companies now, but like with age group, who are my target customer? It can identify so much. It can break it down so much, and then you can have more active marketing and sales around that, and on your website as well.
I was just going to get into that point, which is that surely the biggest motivator here for any company to do any of this is actually not even within the company itself, but it's actually the external. It's actually the benefit to the clients of that company, is it not?
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is now, we get so used to that if you're a company that's not on board with that, we don't really want to, speak to somebody about just something. We want to just get it done. And this is a way of just get it done. We're all kind of impatient, busy, whatever. We just want a result. And this can give your customers a result. Like I say, a lot of the support, 75% can be dealt with.
Yeah, because a lot of it's actually about having great information at your fingertips to be able to react and respond quickly.
Yeah.
I heard a really great kind of example of this where somebody said that they were at an airport and their plane had been delayed or cancelled or whatever, and they phoned up the airline, and the airline had a lot of automation in there. And it immediately went, the response was, yes, we're sorry about this situation. And actually they were phoned by the airline because the airline knew that this was happening, and that they said, we're sorry that this is happening. You're a valued customer. What we've done is we've already booked you a space in the VIP lounge, etc., and we've booked your next flight on this if you want a different flight. And it had already triggered a whole good customer response, and that customer felt great, about all of that response.
Yeah, because in a situation like that, you'd probably never be able to get through as well, because everybody on that flight is going to be. So yeah, that's a really good example of what is available.
And so let's go right back to the CFO and their team there. What's the main benefit there really for a finance team within the business? You mentioned sort of being able to forecast and generally if a finance team are still all working off spreadsheets and literally what's pumped through to Sage or Zero or whatever, then I've sat in a lot of meetings in the past where a finance team are basically telling you what the situation is now, and how much more of a benefit are a finance team to a business if they can tell you what what you can do around the corner or what might be coming.
Yeah, we do. I mean, in finance, we do like budgets and planning, but it's all very much. It could have gone on previous years in a percentage, whatever. But, the big thing is the efficiency, because, working in real time, the more we can work in real time in finance, the better. Retrospective is a waste, can be a waste of time. But, the accuracy that we're going to get with bots as well. And then, the scalability really for companies where if they're looking to scale, then it's no longer a nice to have. It's a must. It's a must have, because you can't be competitive. You can't compete against the bots, that can do.
I was going to say that efficiency, but also, as you say, the accuracy is really important, because let's face it, humans make the most mistakes out there. And especially when it comes to sort of data. I mean, if you're still having to read off of one ledger and then transfer that into a spreadsheet or whatever to put that through into a system, there's going to be mistakes made, aren't there? Because it's such a tedious job. Or even as on the front end, where you might be collecting people's email addresses. How many people with CRMs out there, for example, and they've got 15 people feeding email addresses, whatever, into a CRM, and it just becomes a mess because
just get one thing wrong.
Whereas actually, if you, in a way, what you're trying to do is you're actually, with a lot of automation processes, you're trying to look for the cleanest route of that data coming into your business. That's a really good way of describing it, because it's not gonna, obviously it's got to be, you do monitor it, but you've not got as much to see, and it will pick out. You'd always have like your like a dashboard with what's the bots doing. You can get so much information out of data that we've never been able to do before. And is it something that you're seeing across the board, just globally, with pieces of software, especially now we've gone to, because it's not that long ago that we still put floppy disks into a machine or we still loaded software. But generally, I can't really think of a piece of software now that isn't kind of cloud-based. As we've now gone cloud-based, that's enabled developers to create better APIs between things, which for people that don't know, it's kind of how pieces of software talk to each other. But that means now that data flow should be there. It's just about connecting these things up.
And that's where you hear people talk a lot about the intelligent automation platform, and that's just what it is. It's connecting them up and then using whatever AI within that we need to make it all talk, so everything's singing together.
And actually, to put another spin on it as well, I think that then creates a more inclusive framework within a business as well, because otherwise I think what you typically get is someone dictates a system, and that system doesn't necessarily work for everybody. I'm not saying that it's actually the best thing in the world if just let all of your staff use whatever systems they like. But what I'm saying is, it's if you go down the automation route and you start to be able to get pieces of software to talk to each other, then it does allow for a little bit more flexibility in terms of accommodating people that may be neurodiverse or just can't use the system because they just can't get on with it. They might be able to use another preparatory piece of software at the coalface, but it can all feed back into the same pipeline.
Definitely.
And that's I think that's quite important, because especially with where the world's going in terms of how people are getting employed into companies now.
And with the with hybrid working or remote working, so it's I think we need it, especially I've managed a finance team myself, and I wonder how, like, if I was now in that position with people working from home, how good, I think it must be a real difficult job now to manage finance teams. And I think, like with the employee support, that can give you insights into training issues or, the potential to, definitely upskilling people is one of my favourite parts of AI.
But there you go. It's a very human element to AI,
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
which is actually, have to teach people how to do it. How do you go about making sure that works within an organisation, that that there's the kind of feedback and the sort of human approach to it all?
It's got to be, I think we all, company definitely needs somebody to be in charge of AI. I think it could fall very nicely in with the CFO. But, we're seeing like chief intelligent officers now. It's a job that's been created. I think accountants would be great for it, because obviously, they're training strategically and, I think they are the perfect people to upskill in organizations. People might disagree with me. But yeah, so, and it's just about, getting people on board, making sure that you've got team meetings about explaining to people really, because like I said, there's a lot of press and there's a lot of fear. So it's just, all we'll do is we'll announce your job, whatever job you're doing, we're going to take this bit off you, and then you can do this, or you've got the chance to do this. And that's what's, it's like bringing people up from the mundane.
Well, I think we need to definitely see that more and more.
Yeah.
And actually, in a world where at the moment companies are struggling to retain talent and find talent, this becomes even more important in a way, doesn't it? Because actually, if you bring people into your business who are talented, who have got a qualification, etc., and then you sit them down and all they do all day long is something mundane,
Yeah.
they're not going to stay with it very long. So
No.
companies need to shift their focus into doing the dynamic and actually looking for ways to really use people in that dynamic way, rather than
For what we were, like as accountants, what we were actually trained, we spent hours in those books and reading, and then you think, oh, when am I ever going to use this? And a lot of people
to move things from one column to another in a spreadsheet.
Yeah. No, it's not. And like you say, you get, and like, the only way you kind of become fulfilled is by, if you start off as the accounts assistant, by getting to financial controller, and then, obviously it is more strategic, but a lot of people don't get the chance, or they don't want that. So, but yeah, I think that's the most exciting thing about AI, and that's why I love it.
I think within a lot of industries as well, there's a shift happening in terms of information anyway, because more of it's available online. So I'd say that possibly, and maybe accountants might disagree with me, but whereas we may have needed accountants for some fairly basic information years ago, perhaps we don't need them for that now. I mean, you can literally go on YouTube and someone will go, oh, look, if you're filling in your self-assessment tax return, for example, here's the 5 things that you should really try and avoid in order to, get HMRC to raise an issue. There's accountants putting out their basic knowledge out there for free. So what we're seeing, especially within that sector, the actual accountancy sector, is we're seeing accountants trying to change to be more specialists in particular areas, like auditing or tax or whatever, so that actually because a lot of people are self-serving at the bottom, really.
Yeah, and that's it, because that's been with HMRC, they've simplified that. You fill in and it says, have you done this? Were you a partnership? Whereas before we used to have this big book that we had to fill in as a tax return. Now that's gone. But, we still, the accountants have still, they're the ones with the knowledge. But if they can get rid of just posting that, say, we post these journals every month, like it's like, oh, this journal, that journal. If we can get rid of that, and then we can start to look at what the numbers are telling us and get some insight, with AI, then that's great. Because, we've got, that is what we were trained and qualified to do, not sit and punch numbers on keyboard. So yeah, it's exciting times. I think it's fabulous, and there is a lot. It's a quick return on investment as well with AI. You'll soon see the benefits.
Well, listen, it's been great talking this afternoon. We're going to put this out again. You'll probably see this, but I'm going to put it out again on my channel as well.
All right, thank you.
So a lot of people will see this. If when you watch this, you're thinking, that it sounds just like my business, and you'd like to get in touch with Marie, where's the best place for them to get in touch with you?
On LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. I should have put my surname on, Speakman. Man,
we'll put links in anyway. But
all right then, okay, yeah. But I'm on LinkedIn or email. I'll put my email in there.
Okay, and so look, if people are interested, please do reach out, have a chat with Marie. I mean, as you say, it might seem scary, but actually, I think we've maybe allayed some people's fears this afternoon, that actually it's not as scary as all of that, and actually this is the way that the world's going. And
sorry Graham, but I think it's scarier not to be scared if you don't, because the ones who do are just going to go, they're going to fly.
Yeah,
they really are. So
I'd be difference scared between exponential growth or not, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So if you're thinking of scaling your business, if your business needs to scale and you're at that kind of crossroads where, maybe it's like, do I need to take on a lot more staff? How do I go on next? Do I merge with somebody else? Or, that's a really good time to be perhaps talking to someone like Marie to go, well, actually, do I? It takes me back to like years ago when I knew someone that sold storage wall for offices, and old filing cabinets that we all used to have in offices. There was a technology that no one wanted to get rid of. Nobody wanted to get rid of it, right? But they used up so much floor space. And this chap used to go in and he'd go, right, okay, how much floor space have you got? And literally in like a couple of meters of storage wall, which would go from, go higher, he'd have all of your filing cabinets in those walls. And the advantage was you could stay in that building for years longer at the same cost. Well, think of it a little bit like that. If you implement AI into your business with the same staff you've got, you might be able to go further than you've ever gone before with your business.
Yeah.
And then you can start looking at game changers to bring into your business that will take your, supersonically take your business into a different direction. So
I would always advise, if you are thinking of taking staff on, just to look, because like the example I gave before with the 6,000 transactions, 150 a month for a bot, it's like, it's crazy. Be crazy not to.
Yeah, one person's salary might automate your whole business. Who knows? It can be as simple as that. Thanks, Marie, for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting.
Cheers. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Yeah, bye.